Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm your host, Khalil Green, and welcome to another amazing episode of The Almighty Show. Woo! It's another special day. I'm with two really good friends of mine, all the way back from the Mizzou days. Miss Mariah, Miss Janell, introduce yourselves. How y'all doing?
Good, Janell, you great. Hey y'all, you already know, Mizzou in this mug, But
Yeah.
I'm Janell. I'm currently doing a second year of PhD program in biomedical engineering, but it's been wild. So we're gonna get into that too. We're gonna get into academia and the elitism and how this also plays a role in all this commotion that's going on, all these genocides and stuff going on. But
Man.
yeah, that's me.
Well, I'm Mariah Bourgeois, so I currently am in my second year of teaching. I am a ninth grade biology and then 10th, 11th, and 12th grade anatomy and physiology teacher. That don't even get me started on that now because it definitely plays a big role with everything going on too. So yeah, everything will be touched on and talked about for show.
For sure. And you both came from the Midwest, from Chicago. What you all claim to be, the greatest city in the world. Probably the second greatest behind St. Louis, but we don't have to get into that. But you both moved out. You both moved out to the East Coast. How do y'all feel like the East Coast life has been for you all, and like what's been like the main difference from that and what you're used to in Chicago?
You wanna go, Warrior?
These mugs is rude, okay? Like, I tell you, oh my God, just like the way that they're so rude. It's just like, no, like, Chicago, we be a little aggressive, but it's like a nice aggressive. Like, we like friendly aggressive. They're just aggressive. Like, it's so, oh my God. And then on top of that, they can't drive to save their lives.
Okay, let's start.
I'll be so like, listening for the India 500 like every day.
Literally.
Oh yeah.
What you think of the Janelle?
That's what I was telling Khalil before he started. Like, first off, Chicago, we really be about our stuff. Like, we always been striking. We always be protesting. We always been on like that kind of socialist movement. And I think even in Mizzou, I feel like even my words and stuff was more accepted, or I could be myself more than I can in the East Coast. Like we was talking about, it's definitely explicit racism, like versus implicit. And on the East Coast, it's kind of hard to just like be like, no, what he's doing is wrong, because they looking at you crazy, even though they think everything is like all good. So the whole thing with the North versus the South, people think the South is the racist places, but the North has a lot of history of being racist as well, and using capitalism to continue to bring people down. So yeah, it's just a lot of that. And I know like Mariah already know, like Chicago, we be on our stuff. That's why we have gotten a lot of laws passed, a lot of things done. But of course there's more to go. But there's people in Chicago we know fighting every day, like looking right. And here it's kind of like hard. I'm like, what community can I find to also have that?
People here are like a lot more complicit, and they're okay. Like, they know what the problem is, and they don't care. They're like, what does that have to do with me? I'm still gonna have like my own type of time. I'm still gonna be cool. Like, I'm gonna be good. My peoples are gonna be good. It's just like a lack of empathy.
Yeah, that could definitely. I know that could definitely be frustrating, especially coming from like a place where it was so accepted, being, community oriented and things of that nature. One thing I can say, with the lack of empathy, or what has been displayed as a lack of empathy, has been, our government and its complicity of what's been going on in Palestine. The world leaders, well, the Western world leaders, and the genocides of Congolians, Sudanese people going through their conflict. For those who aren't as aware, could you touch a little bit into like what's been going on, with Israel and Palestine, just to keep people up to date for, what's been going on?
So I could definitely speak on the Palestine. So just a little background, like on my prior experience with it, I actually didn't know necessarily what was going on because growing up, I actually grew up in a Zionist household. I didn't even know that's what it was.
Really?
Fact, yeah. Like my stepmom, she did a birthright trip back in like 2012, and I just thought that's a normal thing. Like I thought people like you could just go to Israel if you wanted to, like you could just go there. And then when everything started happening, and I'm like actually looking into what's going on, wait a minute now.
Yeah. Hold up.
Wait a minute now.
Something ain't right.
So from my understanding, like what I've like learned in the last 5 months we're on now, 6 months.
Crazy. Yeah.
That basically what happened was that after World War II, but during World War I, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, the Britain and France promised the Jews the land with no people, like a people for like no land with the land with no. And it was like from the Balfour Declaration, basically promising this to them. The guy that like coined Zionism, Thomas Herzl, wasn't a practicing Jew, all this stuff. And they basically took all the Jewish people that were displaced from the Holocaust, put them on a boat, sent them to Palestine, and they would go and colonize them. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's so good. Like, give the Jewish people home. But really, the whole mission of Zionism is based in anti-Semitism.
I was just gonna say
They do not want Jewish people in Europe, so they said, let's go make them Europe's problem. Let's go make them else's problem. So you know. So wait,
oh no, I'm gonna say and like people don't know either is that a lot of African countries was on that list.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Uganda. Wasn't it? I don't want to say Kenya, but I want to say Kenya. I know Argentina was on there. Argentina. So like
everything but the Western world, everything was gonna be there.
Like y'all could have gave Germany if you really wanted to, if y'all wanted to be like that.
Exactly.
For Germany, what they complicit in? Let's go to Congo. Let's go to this is all a part of the plan, which is actually insane. Everything Mariah said that was the Nakba. So they literally replaced the Jews. Some Palestinian families said they were accepting of a lot of Jewish families, and they would leave their house. They would come back, and the house was locked. The keys were locked. And then they just truly had to find somewhere else to go. Like imagine a place where you called home for years. Everything is ripped away from you, the culture and everything. And now America wants to say that this is Hamas, a resistant plighter group.
Yeah.
Like, if you just killed these people's whole families, their generations, their mom and dad, like, why would their mission not be to get it back in blood, please?
Exactly.
And y'all know how, like, Hamas started, like, the 3 original founders of Hamas? And I believe it was, like, the 1967 when the Israelis went to Egypt and tried to, like, whatever they wanted to do there. They came back, and, like, on their way back from their failure, they basically rounded up any male that was 15 years and older and executed them. So this happened like several separate cities, and we know like one person from each of the cities that this happened to, they like either got like they ran away, they were mistaken as dead or whatever. They went on to create Hamas in 1983, and the original the original charter of Hamas does say like against all Jews. But when it's really important to think like when they're speaking about Jews, they're speaking about Zion. They're not speaking about the whole religion, because Judaism and Zionism are not the same thing
at all.
I was just explaining to someone, like, Hamas is a resistance. Would you condemn the slaves for killing the slave's master's family?
Exactly. Hell no.
Yeah. It's
that
kind of hard too. It's been kind of hard. I don't know, like trying to convince a lot of Black people too that like this should be our fight as well. Like, what this got to do with us? Like this has a lot to do with us. Sorry.
Yeah, and I will say, it has been a little disheartening. I haven't seen a lot of people say it, but I have seen a few people have that sort of individualism type of mindset. It's happening across the world, so it doesn't affect me at all. Which, in fact, it really does, because at the end of the day, we sort of went through the same thing. Well, I can't even say sort of, but we went through the same thing as Black people in general, you know, being taken from, you know, our culture being taken from us, our homes, whatever the case may be, and being executed and persecuted just because of who we are. And people wanted to use our resources, you know, at the behest of us, you know. Oh no, you good. I was just gonna say, and you know, the fact that you being okay with this, it just, I don't know, it just shows your character.
Exactly.
Oh, 100%. I was just talking to one of my students because they, like, I like to keep them up to date. I like to tell them the real about what's going on. Like,
As you should.
they'll ask me questions. Like, no, I'm going to tell you because every time you walk in my classroom and you got McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, like Starbucks, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to explain to them everything that's going on in Palestine is a pretext for what is to come here. So I just saw a video about, have y'all seen like the cameras that they're putting up in like places like New Orleans, Baltimore, like inner city, how like close they can get to your face? Guess where they tested that first?
They Israel. Israel have the largest surveillance in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, they're testing that on the Palestinians in the West Bank right now. Like every single thing you see that is going on there is going to happen here.
Yeah.
And people live in this like oblivious mindset. Oh, they would never let that happen. Oh, we're not gonna let that fly. Okay, well, you're letting it fly right now.
Exactly.
What that got to do with me? Okay,
exactly.
Taken away every single day. We are living in the fascist state. Okay, we are already fascism. We're already there.
We're already there.
We have the infrastructure built. Now they're rolling out all the laws. Like, y'all looked at Project 2025?
Project 2025.
Man.
City, the Geely program. Like,
all that.
This is insane. Which is basically a lot of the cops here are trained in Israel to do urban warfare. What is urban warfare to y'all?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that.
Like what? Like the name itself is just crazy.
Destroying the neighborhood so that you can set up military sites to then I can't think of a better word, harass the community.
Facts.
But like potholes, when we need healthcare, when we're asking for student debt relief,
we're asking for more funding for education in general.
There's no money for that ever.
Exactly.
But you just approved all this money to send to Israel and you?
Man. Exactly.
They're doing it
exactly.
right in our face. Like, they doing it right in our face.
It's crazy. And it's even
brainwashed them.
Yeah, that's another thing, you know. It's really crazy, like the propaganda. You know, I will say hats off to the CIA, to the government for their propaganda because they really did their big one. Getting all these people to, you know, not even realize what's going on right in front of them and to see that, you know what I'm saying? The fact that, you know, we are a militarized country, you know, our budget for our military is bigger than the next 26 militaries in the world combined. Like, if that isn't screaming a problem at you, then I don't know what is, you know. And a lot of the times, a lot of the times, you know, when we do send all these taxes and stuff like that, billions of dollars that we could have easily used to end homelessness, to end hunger, you know, we funded Israel, we funded Ukraine. All of this tax dollars is going straight to, you know, the militaries in those countries. And some of the lobbying organizations are pocketing that money too, and sending it right back to the politicians. So it's like an endless cycle of our money being taken from us and given to those empowered to, you know, steady help their regime or help their endeavors on whatever that might be. So
I heard a quote that said, all you have to do is feed and entertain someone and then they're cool. Like that, nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's really apparent with my students, right? Because I was telling them when everything first started happening, I was like, okay, y'all, like, we should be boycotting McDonald's. Like, you guys really should be, like, looking at your, like, idols a little bit closely. Like, why are they not doing? They were like, well, I don't really expect, like, let's say they rapper Young Pappy to be out here. And then why I'm not going to go to McDonald's? What, like, I want to eat. Like, I'm going to go get my cheeseburger because I like my cheeseburger. Like, these were, like, they were all very, very adamant about this. I'm like, y'all can't give up $1 cheeseburger?
Man.
And that you all it isn't good for you?
Exactly. we don't even know what real meat is used for those hamburgers. And then knowing that these corporations are funding this genocide is just insanity. You know what I'm
Knowing that now fast foods are going to have dynamic pricing with based off of the time, based off the time of day, the food is going to be different. And America is like, that's the thing that kind of pisses me off. Where everybody's like, well, what can I do to? First off, America, we are complicit in like all of the wrong in the world. To be honest, like
Facts.
if we're not doing it within our own country, which we can see ourselves, we literally corrupt every other country that tries to have a good leader that helps their country. So if we actually started with just us, we could do a lot of like, we have a lot of power here.
For sure.
We don't even see that we have a lot of power to like enact change all over the world. And that was kind of like blowing me because we are the imperialist state. And like Israel, I don't know who at this point who's stronger, because we might be Israel's puppet, or America might be the puppet in this. I don't know. And
They both buddies at this point.
they both buddies at this point. They're both imperialist countries and using their power to literally just damage, corrupt, and take over other countries. But this don't have nothing to do with us when we're the taxpayers, when we're the ones literally
funding the stuff.
Funding the stuff. Like it does have to do with us. Just even we can go to Congo as well. All these technologies that we have right now.
Yeah.
Or even Tesla. Tesla is the best. No, they use the mining that Palestinian women, Congolese women and children are mining, like with their own blood, sweat, and tears. They're being raped if they don't do these things, but this has nothing to do with us. But we can't live without having an iPad, a laptop,
the newest phone out,
a desktop, a Tesla. We have to get a new phone every year. Like this is consumer. We just, it's so crazy how consumerism, addiction is all connected. They done marketed all this shit to us, so now we just. Oh, I have to have this. No, we're just comfortable. We're too comfortable as a people.
Too complacent. And I feel like, what was you going to say, Mariah?
No, you can go ahead.
I was going to say that leads to my next question. How can we, the people in America support, Palestine, Congo, Sudan? How can we support them from home?
So my first thought, like when it first started, I'm like, okay, y'all, we gotta get to voting. But like the voting system is so messed up that you can only really vote for like APAC people. So have y'all seen like the uncommitted, like voting uncommitted? I think that is like the greatest thing we can do right now, like active, because it's showing like people, we'll participate in your bullshit ass like stuff. We'll participate in the voting system, all this stuff, but we're voting uncommitted. So if you want our 40,000 votes like in Minnesota, you want 40,000, you gotta put somebody else up. So I feel like that's forcing like the DNC to realize you need to do something different. And I really wish we were at a place as like a country to elect like a third party, like someone like Claudia de la Cruz or like Cornel West.
I was just gonna say Cornel West.
I like Jasmine too.
Jasmine, someone like on the socialist side, we're actually caring about people before profits. We could do so much done. But it's like people be like, oh, well, my vote doesn't matter. Well, this is the ways that it can matter. Like you are selling something, even if it doesn't work in a sense, run built in a day. You're not going to get change in a day. So like you have to make small strides out of the individual to
For sure.
greater good.
I want to say that I think really the first step is really educating ourselves as well. People can do things, but they don't know why. And you can teach somebody to hate somebody, but if you don't want to tell them why they are doing this, they're going to essentially be the same oppressor, the same person in that position when it comes to it. And you see that now when, 100 years ago, it truly was black versus white.
Yeah.
And now we see it's poor versus rich for sure, because there's a lot of black capitalists that we have now in our who are
off Jay-Z.
Exactly. Beyonce too.
Rihanna.
They're just actors and agents of capitalism as well. But we're so aspiring by them, like, okay, if we just work hard, we're gonna get like we gonna have the money, we're gonna be black excellence, black elitism, but there's people that are working 2 to 3 jobs just to survive, right? But it's the education part. Like I think people truly don't understand what's going on and why this is important. But I wanted to say that I was going to bring this up already. I have to, like, the Black Panther Party. We have had leaders. We have had people.
A Chicago king.
A Chicago king. Like,
You had to bring Chicago into it, yeah. Yeah.
And Fred Hampton. That's what I'm saying. Like, we have had people who did this work before us.
Yes.
And they were so powerful that the government literally created the counterintelligence program to kill them and to literally assassinate them. Like a literal document, a literal program to kill all of our Black leaders. And
COINTELPRO.
COINTELPRO. So why was that? Why was that? Why
Girl, how powerful it was.
Yeah.
It was that powerful. So there was leaders. It was like even Martin Luther King. People say that he was the nice guy. No, he actually was very radical. He actually was bringing so many different groups together, and they was like, oh nah. He making the white folks realize that they actually are just as poor as the Black people. They also are suffering through the same things. But we haven't. The fact that they have erased Kwame Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael, they have erased like real revolutionaries out of our history books. So even us as Black people, we're like, what are we doing this for? Like, but even that's what I'm saying. Even us as Black people, we actually practice social programs. That's how we have gotten by. Social programs is literally like, I have something, you have a skill, I have something, we come together and bring that together. That we have done that when we have potlucks. We had the literal Black Panther movement started the free breakfast program that we have now in all schools, free clinics that we have now, the libraries as well. Like, they started that in the 1970s, and they didn't know, like, truly, Fred Hampton, he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be a revolutionary right now, but I am a revolutionary. And 40 years later, these programs are still enacted. He was at the age of 21.
I was just going to say younger than us.
He younger than us. So, like, I don't think education or students, college students, those people who were protesting, they were 17, 18, like people don't realize that it started with the youth. Like, it's always been the youth. It's always been the students who have been in the streets, acting crazy, been the radicalists, and like getting stuff done. But we kind of have lost that as well, because now we don't really learn in school either. We just, honestly, we be cheating, we be ChatGPT, we be
for sure
the COVID-19 era. So we're not actually as well, educating ourselves or grasping the knowledge that we really need to, start the revolution.
I would say that on top, that is also true. And, we're also witnessing an attack on education in general, with a lot of these
Republican primary, Republican primary where they were talking about expanding the Department of Education.
Like, what? And you have all these people comfortable enough to even introduce this legislation, erasing our history, whitewashing the textbooks, and taking away, Black history curriculum in general. They don't. And with the lack of education will, help them empower, because people will just fall for whatever media is telling them, and they don't have a mind of their own. And that's essentially what education will bring, you being able to critically think for yourself, being able to understand, beyond the propaganda that's shown to you. You feel me?
That's where we truly become free. But we're still locked. We're still brainwashed. We're still mentally enslaved. Not even mental. We're enslaved too. Like, people are in jail making 17 cents an hour. I'm trying to start the revolution. People are like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to die. I don't know if I can sacrifice. There are people dying
as we speak
themselves every day.
Yeah.
We're not speaking up.
So, and then what you want to stay here for if it's like this? Like, if you are literally one accident, one emergency away from being homeless. And then with criminalizing homelessness, then you're one step away from being in the prison system. Then that's basically you being a slave. So what are you fighting for? What are you fighting for if you're just fighting to survive for now? You're fighting for maybe your one day. You're fighting for the long day.
Exactly. That's
for sure. So definitely educating ourselves, and definitely, sticking to, coming together really when it comes to, the uncommitted votes, or, essentially what I said, pressuring politicians. We see a lot of the people of the world, truly putting pressure on their politicians. Like the people in France, they always gonna do their big one when it comes to protesting. You know what I'm saying?
Won't play about them.
Yeah, at all. But one thing I do believe is that we always hear the phrase that the revolution will be televised, and I don't think it actually will. I think it won't, because the people who are in control, the people who are in power of these systems that we are abided by, they are the ones that's controlling the media. They don't want us to understand the power that we have when we come together. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, left, right, whatever the case may be. When we all realize that we are literally all same slaves, we are all prisoners of this system, they're not going to want us to see us unify against together to go against the people that are actually in control. So definitely pressuring these politicians, doing what we can, whether it's recorded on TikTok, whether it's recorded on the news or not, just making sure that we stay on 10, keep the pedal to the metal when it comes to demanding change, demanding, policies that's going to support the people and not the corporations,
Exactly.
supporting the people and not, their pockets, essentially. And like Janell said, education. Education can come in a lot of different ways, whether it's word of mouth, whether it's reposting on Instagram, reposting on TikTok, reposting on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. It's never going to be X in my eyes. I'm going to just say that right now. I'm dead naming X. But yeah, whether you reposting this information and getting the word out, essentially. I know a few weeks ago, talking to my homie, and she was saying that she was eating McDonald's. I'm like, why are you eating McDonald's? Like, knowing what they doing. She had no idea what was going on, And so when I told her, she instantly got better, which, was amazing to see, And I wasn't just saying like, they supporting this, so don't do it. But just breaking it down,
Exactly.
and telling her the reason and why they were doing that and, the history of it, So
I think
education,
like not being condescending as well, like, truly be like, do you know this? Do you know what's actually going on? Like, that's why I like to ask before I like go on my hospital. I'm like, have you heard of like have you heard of like, because people don't truly know. So I'm like, okay, come on, I'll give you a quick lesson. Now, after I tell you and you don't change your views, now that's
different.
That's different. But truly, people aren't educated. They're truly living in a bubble thinking that what I'm doing is not going to affect someone else.
Exactly.
In one universe.
My coworkers are really bad for this. Like they definitely tired of me, but I don't care. Like they're so tired of me. But I was walking in. This was literally on Friday. My coworker had his Dunkin' Donuts cup. I said, "No, sir. What are
you doing with that?
What you doing?" He's like, "What you talking about?" I'm like, "So you support genocide?" And he paused and he was like a sigh. Like, why are you sighing?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what's going on, so you want to sit here and still get it? I'm like, okay, right. I see you. I see you. I see what type of time you're on. And he's like, well, you can't really get this nowhere else. I said, sir, you can find a wholesale. He's like, you can't find certain flavor. I said, and I'm gonna find it for you. Okay, so we'll still be excuse. So now that's a running bet. I'm gonna find a wholesale for the Dunkin' Donuts syrup that he likes.
As you should.
Syrup that he likes, and then now
he just can't get rid of it. He just can't.
Like it's like it's such a burden to them, just understanding and knowing, what's been going on. And it's like it's selfish of us to think of it as a burden, just knowing and just protesting when this stuff is so little, in the grand scheme of life. Like just a Starbucks coffee a day. Like, come on, let's be for real.
Sure. And that's a pillar of white supremacy, is the right to comfort. You don't need to be comfortable 24/7.
Yeah.
If someone else is not comfortable, you should feel not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable knowing that there are people suffering and I am okay, relatively speaking.
Right.
Yeah.
I am not comfortable with that, and it bothers me, and it should bother you, and that should bother all of us to do. You should not have your right to comfort if everyone can't have comfort too. Well, that people are out here getting 13 cents.
Man.
13, working 16 hours a day. That is
that's crazy.
And then they'll tell us, oh, you need to prioritize your time. You need to take some time in. It's not enough hours in the day for us to do all the work that y'all want us to do.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like, even Biden posts on his page, like, yes, the Americans are working 2 to 3 jobs. This,
Like,
what? How is that a flex?
that is not a flex that you think it is.
Unemployment is at an all-time low. Da, da, da.
But no, because the job market is trash and you're not hiring anybody. So
Exactly.
what's
Literally,
going on?
71, what is it, 68, 71% of people are living paycheck to paycheck right here.
Yes.
Like, I think about it every day. Motherfuckers used to be able to sell milk, buy a house, buy a car, send
Yeah.
them to college, sell
Split they
it
found.
door.
No, I've been trying to like even just tell my grandparents too, like with car insurance. Car insurance is a scam.
It's a scam for sure.
All that stuff, they're just like, oh no, just like when I was looking for an apartment here, they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay for water. I'm like, I don't know what age you in, but there's water bills now. Like I have to pay a water bill, I have to pay an air bill, electric. Like what?
It makes no sense.
What he say? From That's a Reap.
Oh yeah, Orlando Brown. You got to pay for the trees. I mean, for the fruit that we grow.
They don't really got our ass. Like this is insane. So
I think about that every day. Like, wow, I can't just be off to
the old be crazy though. So they got hit like they label us as the crazy people when no, we're not accepting that we really
thought again. You're crazy.
Yeah, and that's what it truly is. And even the diversity of life that we see on a day-to-day basis. When it comes to trees being grown. And even our allergies, is due to capitalism. Us not having fruit trees grow, in the communities and always finding them in the stores. We overplanting these trees that produces pollen, instead of producing fruit. That added to
the stars. We don't have stars no more.
We don't even have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that was one thing I noticed about the East Coast. Janell, did you notice it too? Well,
there's no star. No, because in Missouri, it's not as bad. Missouri's not as bad because we're in the farmland.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But in big old cities, you look.
I was just in Michigan. I'm looking up at the sky. I'm damn, there's stars.
That's crazy.
That is stars anymore.
That is sad.
You don't care about y'all know me. I'm an astrology guy.
Yeah. As you should.
I've been trying to tell people like, bro, nature. That's what this is. Like we're supposed to appreciate nature because nature is our connection as like humanity. But
yeah,
and that's a big thing. A big thing about Baltimore, there's no grass. Like Melo be taking shits on the fucking pavement. Like there's
crazy.
Straight concrete. Like
no grass nowhere, G. Like no grass. No.
They cut the tree off in front of my house. I was so sad. I was crying that day. Like when
that is crazy.
2 trees they cut. I was like,
what?
I know that y'all did it for some money. Like
yeah,
it's like the trees to breathe. Like
there was a basketball court right by the school. Right, obviously the kids that just be busy. But there was like trees. It wasn't nothing too crazy. They knocking that down. John Hopkins building something.
What?
Yeah. Like some of the kids were actually like, now we don't know what like to do after school. Like we can't just go to the basketball court that's right there. That's like quote unquote safer than other places to go. Like they really don't have anything. Like just looking at how like the infrastructure of Baltimore is set up is just so insane. You go 1 block over. It looks exactly the same, but it's like dilapidated. Like the resources are not there. Like you see junkies like bent over, like, and the students have like, they've just so much internalized this as like an environment to be in that when I tell them like, you should not be normalizing that. You should not be normalizing this as something that just is. Right. That's not okay. That person needs help. This environment needs help.
Facts.
You have a problem with this, so like y'all need to get together to do something. While you worrying about what Krishan Ronnie doing or what y'all worrying about the wrong stuff.
Facts.
Even that's why I wanted to say Mariah too. Like and Khalil, we're talking about you working in education too. I'm on the extreme side. Like I'm in a PhD program. That's supposedly the highest you can go in academia, but it's only 2-3 people black people in our program. We're literally dying, we're killing ourselves. And it's like the DEI is a scam, it's performative, all this stuff. But just me being an engineer, y'all, I truly thought that, you know, we were supposed to help the people, you know.
Yeah.
I truly thought that this is what this was. And that's honestly why I didn't go to industry. Like, even I know Mariah, before we graduate, I'm like, no, I don't want to go to industry because I'm like, bro, I really don't want to work for these people. I don't want to be complicit in working for these people. I hate that. I remember I'm going to have to be doing stuff for people that I truly don't think that I'm like helping people, right? So that's why I didn't do the industry. But even now, like, I'm going to the NSBE conference, and why all the careers fair, the people that are going to be there are complicit in literally building these bombs.
Lockheed Martin and all that.
Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all of these places. And I'm like, I'm trying to just explain, but this is why we got a lot of engineers now, because engineers make the most money. People don't care what they do. They could be complicit in hella shit, but they don't give a fuck because I
making bands.
I'm making money. And you're selling out your own. So that was why I didn't do the industry side. But now I'm in academia because I thought I really could, you know, do some work. Nah, it's the same thing because we have our grants. Our grants and proposals are based off of what? The government, based off of the NSF, based off the NIH. Whenever we literally, and we already know the American healthcare system is internally racist, but it is truly like try to talk about shit, or like even me trying to come up with my own research, it still has to be novel enough to bring enough money, but it can't be too like out of this. So it's like I never thought that I was going to be able to do this, and I'm not. So even in academia, because these people, literal biomedical engineers, we're supposed to be engineers for people. We're shit that is going to be in people's bodies forever, such as prosthetics, vaccines, medical devices, all these things, but you truly don't give a fuck about humanity? Like, that's what's
so backwards.
I go inside there or even we went to our BMES conference last fall, because they do so good work trying to figure out how to cure diabetes and epilepsy, whatever. Right. They truly think that they're the holiest people, and they think that what they're doing, because I'm trying to help humanity in this side. But when we was going to BMES conference, everybody was looking down on homeless people. They were like, or like when I try to talk about, I had brought up Palestine because October 7th, that was the day. I think we went to the conference October 14th. They were literally like, everybody, yeah, bro, I can't look at that. That's just too political for me. I had to turn my phone off.
What?
Right.
The right to effort.
But y'all are the biomedical, and some of these were, you know, people who look like me, Latino too. I'm like, this is insane. This is insane. So I'm just like, this is so cynical because y'all are also just doing it. You know, people think people as well do stuff just for money, but people do things for power. Like, just people, hey, just being a doctor, be like, oh yeah, I'm a doctor. That's also a big thing too, just having a title. And I'm just like, I don't want this title if I know that I still have to exploit people to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just also, that's me. I'm in this whole cynical like realm right now. Y'all are dead, but y'all are dead ass, like biomedical engineers specifically, drilled off into this. We were literally created because we thought we wanted to help people. And I'm like, y'all are becoming the business bros or the finance bros that y'all supposedly hate so much.
Right.
So I'm just like, yeah, this is insane. That's what's been born.
It's all one system.
Speaking of the biomedical stuff, right? So on Friday, we were doing a lesson on the integumentary system, right? And we were talking about blood clotting. And my students were asking, like, okay, so if this is what happens when, like, for example, you get shot or stabbed or something like that, why isn't it faster to stop it? Like, why doesn't that happen? I'm like, well, like, you know, your body can only do so much. So you would have to, like, have some type of, like, you know, separate technology, separate, like, thing to do that. And one of them were like, oh, I'm going to go to school and do something like that. And I was like, I would love for you to. Saving lives.
Yes, yeah. Like,
we live in, there's no money in helping people. So it's not going to, are you going to get the funding to come up with that?
Exactly. And you see how the children, they know too. They're like, no, like, I think I can help in this way, but, you know, and we all start off that way. We start off as pure. We realize stuff is wrong, but then we get inflicted into this adult life, and we're corrupted, and we just also start to become those same people. And that's why I'm just like, it's really important for people to understand the why they're doing something. Like, why?
Yeah,
Why? Because we have to keep that in the back of our minds.
for sure. That's definitely real. You know, one thing that I have noticed, you know, whether it's from my own experience, hearing from experiences like y'all's, or even just seeing it in like shows or books or whatever the case may be, like a lot of different things and a lot of people start off as innocent, as pure, but, you know, over time, as they go through this society, like things start to change, whether it's their mental, whether it's just, you know, how they view on life. But somehow, some way, a lot of people end up becoming corrupted. And we could definitely see that, you know, in our government. A lot of people who got into politics started off as pure, wanted to help the people, a decent amount wanted to help the people. A decent amount wanted to make actual change. But sometime whenever they were in office, they were corrupted, whether it's through lobbyism or just trying to stay in power, really. Speak about, like, you know, the corruption in government and, like, what can we, you know, the people do to combat it? Like, what is a way for us to cleanse the government from, like, these corrupt people?
So when everything started happening, I remember hearing about how AIPAC was giving like different politicians like millions of dollars to either not say anything or to run against candidates that were saying something. So, like, for example, Rashida Tlaib had somebody is running against her. Ilhan Omar is having someone run against her. So it's just like, we need to be very educated on not only like voting, but who we are voting for.
Yeah.
If that's going in and looking at like their voting history, like just educating yourself on who is running like your district, for example. Like, don't even worry about the presidency, okay? The presidency is gonna be at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that's already been given to us on a silver platter, planned out by the powers that be, Heritage Foundation, whoever it is. Y'all be looking at like city council, looking at like smaller, because those types of things are super important. Take like the DC Secure Act right now. The two people that are heading this whole bill that's like criminalizing gatherings of two or more people.
Yeah, I saw that BS.
The face mask.
Saying that unclothed officers or whatever can stop you and
ask for your ID.
Like,
yeah,
those are two Democrats. Those are
really
like it, and y'all need to go and vote against these types of people. Like, I know we're working in a system that does not benefit us, but the only way to get this done is to elect socialist like politicians, people that are in a socialism mindset. Like, our current Democrats, the current like the good side, the lesser of two evils types of people, they're still evil. Okay, they're still a problem because they're complicit. They are refusing to make waves. They don't want to do anything. The Republicans are going to be like, oh my God. No, like, people that are going to do something radical. Like, they're out here doing something radical. We need to match energy on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Facts.
And we need to protect these people. Like, that's what is. We don't realize we have the power. We're in a capitalist society. The people who are doing the most work are the ones who get displayed the most. Like, who is reaping all the benefits?
They're the ones at the top.
But we continue to go to work every day. We still, like, dead ass, and we all just decided to stop going. Like, I know it sounds so crazy, but we truly have the power because
y'all been paying your student loans?
Hell no. I got to get it back in blood.
I'm still in school, so I don't have to pay. I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, but no, like, forget all of these people. Like, that's what I'm saying. What are they going to do for us? That if we all come together and be like, no, we can actually get stuff done. That's when we will have the power. But we have people who, like, okay, they're so behind the scenes, they on your side, but then when it's time to like really enact the change and do some stuff, they know what it's mean. That's it. And like, that's why I'm telling you, I've been watching videos of old revolutionary speak, reading more books, and they were like, it's always been people like that though. When the Million
Man March.
March happened, it was a lot of Black people that was like, yeah, I was here, yeah, I was here. But it's a lot of people that are still alive now that was in that march, but where are they now? You know, they haven't, their voice was lost, you know? So it's just a whole lot of, the power really does come from the people. It no better from that. And that's what socialism is.
Yeah.
All these programs that are built is like, we have to, and I know we sound so radical, but it's because our government is so extreme right now, and we have to be like the opposite.
You have to.
We have to. We can't change a system or infiltrate a system while we're in the system. You know,
Exactly.
And it's really important to like acknowledge how people are showing up. Like, you can show up in different ways. You don't have to be the one. Like me, I'm a pacifist. I'm never going to be the one that's out here throwing stuff into buildings.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not me. But do I support?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna be the one that got the sandwiches for you. Okay, so you want to
for sure.
sandwiches right here for you, baby. Like, you gotta figure out what your part in the movement is gonna be. So, like,
need everybody in the movement. Everybody's gonna have a purpose.
Is that everything educating? Is it outreach? Is it actually being the man behind the power? Like, who are you going to be in the revolution? That's what you need to wake up and decide. Because
for sure,
that's not it.
In the arts is what people get. Genuine artists, like art depicts reality. And even now we hear like people will, I don't expect Beyonce. But yeah, it's because they're part of the system. Okay, yeah, you're right. But Muhammad Ali, even if you want to talk about Michael Jackson too, like
Michael Jackson for sure, him, Prince, all of them.
No, we're back in the day. Their music, it wasn't just about their music. They actually were on the outside speaking up for stuff.
Facts.
So, but now we have a lot of Black artists capitalizing off of our struggle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, break my soul. You're not breaking my soul. Quit your 9 to 5. But what are you doing?
Man.
Like, you really just putting all the blame and power to us, which we do have, but like, you guys are the ones that are enabling this. So
for sure.
It's actually insane though. But like, art, we have forgotten why like art is here. Art expresses how people feel and within the movement, and we're gonna see that like years later. But we need people to be able to communicate things in a different way. Like,
well, the TikTok girlies were just talking about that too. Like, they was talking about how like normally during times of like really bad unrest and like struggle, like the art matches. Like, you are hearing all the radio. Like,
I was just gonna say, we don't
like stuff like that. And now you turn on the radio. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Sexy Red. Okay,
right.
He's my girl.
Right.
I love a hoochie mama. Okay, However, you like, they need to have the type of message that we need right now. Like, there's always time to have fun. I'm always down for fun.
Yeah,
right.
Sending the right message outside of that. So if you want a platform, if you all have a platform, you need to be 1, educated, and 2, educated on the right stuff.
Yeah, and the media is like, that's what I'm saying. They know what they're doing, because if you just look at all the people who own a lot of entertainment companies,
they're all into
Zionists.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
A lot of them are Zionists. They're perpetuating the same brand to us. And like, Nicki Minaj, all these people, they're on these same brands. Like, they're owned by the same companies. We don't have to talk about media. We can talk about literal, like,
any institution, really.
Any institution is owned by a bigger person. And they're the ones that are going to be capitalizing, exploiting us, making the most money, you know, like.
For sure. So I feel like that definitely leads to my one of my last questions. Oh, also, before we get into it, I was just gonna say, like, to add on to like how the art, represents the times that we in. I was literally listening to "We Are the World" the other day, and I was like, we haven't had a song like this in such a long time, to where a lot of different big name artists just came together for a common goal. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
We haven't.
But
they all corrupt there.
Exactly. One of my last questions was like, I feel like we sort of touched on this a lot, but how is capitalism destroying us? And like, what are we going to do to like combat it? Like, how are we going to change this system? Like you said, Janelle, you can't really change a system when you're in it, when you're participating in it, you know? Me and my sister, so I grew up in a household of superhero, you know, fans. Like, we love, you know, our Marvel, we love our DC, you know. And as you know, X-Men, you know, Magneto and Professor X was based off of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. And so I was like, you know, like Magneto, like, we got to break away from this system. Like, a lot of the people who are capitalists, like, we just can't trust them for real. We got to just burn it down in general, you know? And back then, my sister was like, no, we can change it from the inside. We can do this. We can vote our way. But she was young at the moment, you know? But as she's grown older and older, she started to realize, like, where I was coming from and why I say we have to burn the system down. But, you know, how exactly do we burn that said system down? Like, we know capitalism is messing up every single factor of our life, literally every single factor, down to allergies.
Every problem.
How do we burn that? How do we burn that system?
I don't break it.
So this may be too hot of a take, like too hot of a take. And this is like how I felt when everything first started happening. I was like, I'm not voting. Let's get elected. Let Project 2025 happen. Let it get worse. Because we are in the end stages of capitalism, but everyone isn't feeling it the way they should. Like, some people are really just like, oh, this doesn't really affect me. Like, I'm so cool. But they don't realize that you're one emergency away from it affecting you to the point where you can't get out. And that's why I'm like on the side of, let it happen. Let it get worse. The moment it gets too unbearable for too many people, that's when you are open to revolution. Like, you're open to dismantling something. And I think for the rest of us that are already on this wave, we just got to be ready for them. We just got to be ready to like carry them into the fold, have the like infrastructure to educate them first, and then tell them what they got to do, tell them the different rules they can do. We need to have like a starfish model in our leadership, rather than having someone like, okay, you're in charge, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. We need to have like some type of like decentralized plan so that everyone just get in where they fit in.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like that idea. I was talking with my coworker. He was on my last episode. I split it up in 2 parts. In the episode that's about to come out, I asked him, I was saying, like, why do you think that, you know, our current generation is super complacent when it comes to like the atrocities that's been going on around us? And he was essentially saying what you were saying, like, we just haven't squeezed out a Malcolm X yet. We haven't squeezed out a Martin Luther King yet, you know, to spearhead those type of moments. Not saying they need to be leaders. We don't need a leader, you know, because if we need a leader, we have them all around us. I mean, I know people make memes of him all the time, but Dr. Umar is a perfect example of like a modern day, you know, person who will root or fight for our civil rights, you know. So we already have like different leaders in the community.
And he's about the problem. Yeah, Dr. Umar is also
he has his fair share of problems. I would give you that. He definitely has his.
But no, that
I think what you're saying.
Yeah, no, what you're saying though is we do need it. It isn't a person that we think that's gonna like actually sacrifice, I guess, themselves for us, right?
Right.
But that is also sort of like I'm gonna keep referencing the BPP
As you should.
Because it was the reason why they killed the leaders. It was to deter the people. It was to like, okay, if y'all keep speaking up, we're gonna just keep killing y'all. But we can't have that mindset like, okay, if one person is gone, we're gonna stop. Like that's actually not how to still up. We still gotta be there. We gotta still be there. Like even if they hear us, we gotta keep going. And it's sort of like what Mariah is saying. We do need to educate the people too. But I'm also like, some people are so lost, they really just gonna hold up. They really finna hold us. And I know that just from my own, I guess, like standpoint of like love and hate, if you just hate somebody so much, we're not gonna get nowhere for real. It truly is love. So it's like I'm trying to find like other like-minded people and then bring our voices. And you know, there are people who have been doing this work before we was born. You know,
Yeah.
I have been trying to find like other like-minded people and just like organize with them. And instead of like kind of wasting my energy, like of course if I'm in a space and I know somebody is not being advocated properly for, I'm going to try to speak up. But it's just like, as well, I'm kind of getting stressed. I'm getting tired myself from just keep trying to tell people something. And I'm like, okay, you just go. I mean, you just gonna have to learn yourself, I think, at this point. Like, it's going to affect you. It's going to. But yeah, also though, it's like 50-50. On one side though, we do have to tell people like, no, what's going on is affecting us as well. Like, it's affecting you. It's not just me. I know that I care so much, but you should care just as much.
For sure.
But that wasn't even what I was gonna say for real. So what but no, like what I was gonna say, the whole thing back to BPB, it primarily ended like in 1973. Guess what else started? NSB started in like 1975.
Oh snap!
NABA also started around that time. All these organizations started around that time, right? Literally, the people who started the Black Panther Party in Chicago, they named themselves Chicago 3 or Chicago 4. If y'all know y'all NSB history, what did they name themselves? The people who founded Chicago 6, right? We literally, like, people don't realize that the organizations that we work so hard for now, they were started because they knew that they had deterred our voices. They knew that they were killing us, and that's literally why we have all these big organizations now.
Right.
Back to the point. And also religious organizations as well. Religious organizations was used because they were supposed to be a voice or a like-minded people, like-minded people. But we have truly forgotten what we are doing this for. We have truly forgotten our morals and values and our principles. Because how even Divine Nine too, how are these organizations who are saying they were made to literally like help and uplift people, they're now doing performative programs like financial freedom. And honestly, like, you know what I'm saying? They also created as well. And Nesby too, like, where you're realizing that people take so much pride in being the Black elite, but they're not helping the people that might not be able to get to their level. And it's still like, okay, well, Black people are too lazy, or immigrants are taking your jobs, or just all these things that have been programmed and put into our minds to think that we are the lazy people, or that there are just so many opportunities here in this America, but we just need to work hard for it. No, that's not true. That's not true. That's the literal system though that they designed so we can keep arguing and talking about shit that don't matter. They can divide and conquer us, and then they can get what they need. But we need to just come together. Like, I know that it's so cliche, but the true answer is socialism, is community. It's getting our people together and realizing that we are all going through the same things. If we come together and put our skills and our power together, we can actually enact a lot of change. But like I said, people not realizing why we are doing this. They don't understand. Like, Nesby mission is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers. Like, but we're not being cultural responsible Black engineers. Right.
Yeah, and recently I saw it nominated some white dude for a scholarship or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that was, you saw that too? Yeah.
Yeah. And they turned the comments off.
They turned the comments off. Yeah, Mariah. So basically somebody had posted, it was like a white guy who I got one of these scholarships. It was like literally, but Honeywell, it was a Honeywell, like they were the ones who chose it. So anyway, all the Black people in the comments like, oh, so we handing out scholarships to white people now, all that. But then we got other people like, well, maybe it's because you all didn't apply for it or something like that. And I'm like, bro, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. That's just crazy.
No, I can think that. But yeah, like you go to these conferences, it's like, even like professionalism, I'm like, realize it's all a front.
It's all a front.
Keep us in our lane, so we won't. We went on strike too. Rutgers went on strike last year. Before then, well, I was already talking. I was like, bro, how is our paycheck okay? I was already saying shit like this, and people in my coworkers is like, oh, we shouldn't be talking about our pay grade. We shouldn't be talking about it. I'm like, bro, you're a victim.
They do that same reason. Like, the same reason you're not supposed to be talking about your paycheck is because they don't want you to do stuff like that, like striking,
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. So I'm in the BTU, the Baltimore Teachers Union. And there's like a clause in our contract, like our teaching contract, that we cannot go on strike. Like, it's not allowed. Like, in contract that it's not allowed to happen. So I feel like definitely something that people can do is calling on their unions, calling on their organizations. Like, if you're a member of this, you need to go say something. Like, you need to be fighting for other stuff. And I know the problem that comes in there is that you're already fighting so much. Like, teachers,
Exactly.
we fight everything. Hey, like, like, there's always something that is like fighting. So it's really, really hard to do that. But it's like, we all got to do it. We all have to get to that point where we're like, we don't want no more of this mess. We need to be talking about it. We need to be like demanding that these things happen. And if you don't do it, guess what? Not only are we going to stop working for you, we're going to stop being complicit in this society. Like, when Bizan was trying to call for like a strike day where everybody like didn't go to work, didn't spend money, all this types of stuff. Like, I was so like personally conflicted by that because I'm like, oh my God, my students, like, if I don't show up, they still gonna be there. Now the school, they gonna be behind, and now da. But it's like, if everybody got on the page, that would not have been a worry of mine.
Exactly. It's realizing that everything's so individualistic right now too. Like, I'm trying to, I'm in therapy as well, but like, I'm realizing therapy as well is just another like individualist concept to as in America, we're addicted to something, no matter if it's coffee, if it's social media, just
everybody
to get
has a
by.
vice.
It's something to get by because we realize our world is a dystopia. It's not utopia. It's utopia. We're trying to do all these things to escape. And how we make up 6% of the population as Americans, but 66% of us use psychosis drugs to literally just get by.
Like, that's crazy.
And that's why I'm like, big pharma, biomedical engineering, like, they truly do make things so it won't last. So it could be temporary, so you should keep buying it. But we have to find our permanent happiness.
Yeah.
And that starts with all of us.
It definitely does.
Like you said, the Band-Aid. People just want to put Band-Aid over stuff. Like,
no. Like, the way that it's just so apparent in everything, and just like it. When I tell you, I hate performative stuff, and I feel like, especially at the school I work at, it's a lot of like performative mess with Band-Aid fixes, and it's just like, I'm supposed to want to stay in a system like this,
and that's the whole thing with the DEI. Like, I'm just so tired of the DEI stuff. Like,
DEI is where you go to DIE. Okay,
man.
Like, let's be for real,
because we get into these positions and then they put all this work on us. They truly tell us, "Oh yeah, you got it. You got. Let's let her be the face of diversity. Let her." But you're also doing all this work, and then you're telling people how you feel, and they're not listening to you. Like,
at all.
So it's like, what? Like, I truly don't know. A lot of these programs are performative. Like, I like to now that I know this, literally Ronald Reagan, y'all know he started.
Yeah.
But he the origin of a lot of bullshit.
Facts.
He won.
Kickstarted a lot of bullshit.
Trickle down economics.
We got today is that
police brutality, law and order, but
economics.
But you know, he was the one who created MLK holiday, right? Like, that's the performative that
same with that Juneteenth BS that they pulled off in 2020.
That's stuff that we be talking about. Like,
they
really put this on our, like, okay, to think that everything is getting so much better.
Yeah, and that's like a conversation I feel like I was having, especially like I first moved here. Like, it was in the line of like other types of problems, but I'm like, oh, like they're telling me, oh, we're so socially progressed at this point. Like, can you think about it? Like, people like the LGBTQ women, like, y'all have so much rights to say what you want to say now and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, so you may feel like that in your experience, but at the systemic level, not a single thing has changed. I think it was about how like women across the globe are still making 68% less than men or something like that.
Which is crazy.
And it's just like
Roe v. Wade is still in
the Roe v. Wade stuff that's been going on. Like, it's a lot of BS that's been going on. And
don't get me started on affirmative action when
oh my God,
when he started at Mizzou. First of all, at Mizzou, people from the literal like NSB leaders, like, they contacted me like, bro, You know, like the scholarship the diversity award that we had
Yeah.
to go to, that we had to go to that.
all the time. I think that all the time. So like if it was us now, like if we were our age, 18 now, trying to go to college, right now, I would not have gone. I would have
Literally
only
only we only 2 years away from graduating. Like we literally just graduated. Like
yeah.
they took away all these rules and laws, but we're just supposed to keep being okay with this.
Yeah, just keep going on performing in the the machine that is capitalism, you know.
And you tell people not to go to higher ed because that's the only way that in this system you can even survive. Because you don't have an associate's degree and survive anymore.
No.
You have a bachelor's degree and survive. The master's, PhD, doctorate, all that. Just to be middle class. The middle class is 150K now.
Yeah. Like what?
People though in my program, you know how you say if you get a PhD, you're guaranteed a job. It's people that literally have patents that I know, like U.S. patent. They have not found a job. I know people like in this like they have not found the job. So what is everything they told us to do? They said, oh, if you get your job, if you pay attention, and you do all this, you're gonna get a great job. But what's happening? It's not going on. Like they keep telling us this, but eventually we're gonna reach a threshold of realizing like this is still a part of the system of trying to look good or have a certain title just to get somewhere, you know.
Right. It's all a facade, you know. And I do think that it boils down to capitalism. A lot of people or a lot of corporations, they just want to be profit motivated. They don't want to change the system that we're in. They understand that people are becoming smarter by the day. Like, I truly do believe, like, each generation, has gotten smarter and smarter over the years, I mean, we have kids operating iPads and whatnot. But with that coming, they're going to try to say that the bachelor is not valued as much. PhDs aren't valued as much. Things of that nature to try to keep us under, because they know that, the time is coming up. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
I believe it's inevitable that the system is going to change. Like, I truly do believe in my heart of hearts that we are...
The entire will fall.
Yeah. Never lost hope in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna see it, but I hope so we can truly start it.
Mm-hmm.
But every empire is going to fall. Like,
yeah.
Or I think we're definitely gonna see it. We're gonna see free Palestine in our lifetime. We're gonna see free Congo. We are going to see at least the starting of the next.
Yeah. I do believe that we're going to be the generation to liberate the world from, like, its oppressors, And it starts with conversations like this. It starts with people educating themselves. And I don't even like looking at it as an individualistic thing, but people having the power within and understanding, like, we're all in this together. Now, I don't know High School Musical stuff, but understanding that we're all, a part of the same struggle and coming together, A lot of people are depressed nowadays because of the stuff that we've been put through, like the system we live in, on day to day. It affects our mental. Us finding happiness within, us being able to, find that happiness and find that love within and, bring it out to the world, having the love for others that you don't even know, that type of empathy to give you power to fight for those across the world, 500,000 miles away, or whatever the case may be. Just having a love for yourself, a love for the people around you, a love for just life in general, whether it's human life, whether it's trees, animals, whatever the case may be. That stuff is what's going to truly bring us together and truly fight against whoever the fuck is pulling these strings. You feel me?
Fred Hampton said, if you don't love socialism, you don't love yourself. And it's because you don't truly feel that you have the value or the skill or the power to actually do something. But we do.
Yeah.
You truly do.
I know I do.
That exact clip on February 1st, okay?
As you should.
The Chicago icon for Black kids.
He ate. Like, he
definitely.
But, Khalil, I got a question for you, too.
Oh.
I know a whole other thing, it's a lot of women too. Black women, we really be the behind the scenes, the face
For sure.
out of the work, right?
For sure.
But sometimes it seems like our Black men don't really like be hearing us sometimes, or like they don't. And that's why I appreciate you having this conversation and you inviting us on, because it seems like, you know, you are actually trying to, like, even just from things you were saying, you kind of heard from the beginning of like we having a conversation with your sister. I can definitely see that you are on a more radical stand than most.
For sure. I mean, I told you, I got this poster, MLK and Malcolm X. Every time I wake up, I'm looking at these niggas like, I know they changed the world for the better, you know, and I want to continue that stuff.
But a lot of you, just like you said, Malcolm X, a lot of them, they're the faces, but it was a lot of women
in the background
that who doing a lot of work.
LGBTQ.
For sure.
And a lot of people, like, even within the Black Panther Party, a lot of people were saying that a lot of women felt like they were also kind of being mistreated. So, like, for the same thing that we saw our Black men fighting for, because they know that they're oppressed, but they did that same oppressing to us, right, as Black women too. So I'm just like, that's why I'm trying to find spaces, but it seems like when I do have these conversations, it's really only other Black women who really like understand, or queer people who really understand what I mean. But it's kind of hard, I feel, to talk to Black men specifically, because it's like this intersection of, oh yeah, I know I'm going through it, but you guys do have the men and intersexuality, so you guys have power too. But I don't know, like, what can we do? Like, how to think y'all?
For sure. It's definitely falls back on white supremacist pillars or pillars of misogyny when it comes to us as Black men trying to fight against this, you know, system or whatnot, but then doing the same thing, you know, to our Black women, children, you know, gays and trans, whatever the case may be. So really just educating them and, you know, dispelling this illusion that they hold some sort of power when it comes to like the system in general, because truly none of us do, you know. And it starts at that. It starts on really educating Black men in general on what's been going on who was working behind the scenes, on who were the people that really enacted these changes. Like you said, these are the faces, but they didn't do it by themselves at all. You know, they spearheaded the movement, cool, but what's the point of spearheading when you have nobody working behind you and actually supporting you and uplifting you when it comes to the things that you are trying to do? So really just educating them, really it comes down to having that sort of love for yourself, having the love for the people around you. I truly do believe that, you know, before, you know, the colonization of our people, that we grew up in, you know, a time where men and women were treated fairly. I mean, there were women pharaohs in, you know, back in ancient, you know, Africa or whatever the case may be. So it had to start somewhere. I do believe that, you know, with that colonization, us believing that men were superior or having that, you know, idea planted in our head is what ruined that all. But really just, you know, having a love for the women in your life, whether it's a lover, whether it's your friend, whether it's your sister, aunt, having that love for them and truly understanding that they are all people. That's where it really starts. So being able to treat others as humans, treating others as, you know, someone who's alive, who is present in the moment with you, instead of just an object or whatever the case may be. That's where it truly starts.
Humanization.
You know what I'm saying?
Book for men, okay?
What's up?
Well, it's called Men's Liberation, A New Definition of Masculinity. It's by Jack Nichols. It came out in 1975, right? It's a book that is based in, like, showing men how the patriarchy, like, hurts them. Like, I feel like you read, like, Bell Hooks, or you read, like, some of these, like, novels, or, like, just any type of text, like, men are really, like, it's really hard for them to connect with it, because it's like, oh, I don't think I hurt women. Oh, I don't think I'm, like, you know, complicit in a society that's, you know, detrimental to women. But it's not just detrimental to women. Obviously it is. Like, y'all need to, like, a lot of men need to wake up and see that. But you need to wake up and see how it's detrimental to you. So having this, like, ideology that men aren't supposed to be emotional and men are, like, the logical beings. What is logic? Like, you need to really, like, unpack a lot of that. So I think a lot of that. Read that book, and I got off my tip of arguing with men. Like I really, that was Mariah last year. Like this,
It's a new era.
now I just give them the book. I'm like, go read this book. It's free. It's online. You can. It's a read. Like first 20 pages, you get an eat up. Okay, so like,
Yeah. Cool. That's I'm about to get at some food.
I can say it's the when I tell you, oh, I be sad. Sad.
I'm saying, but no, we appreciate you though.
For sure, man. Is there anything y'all want to shout out before we head off?
Free Palestine, free Congo, free Chicago, free America, free everybody. Like, sure.
Vote uncommitted. Vote uncommitted. Don't not vote, but vote uncommitted if you are.
Actually, organize. Organize within your community. Your dual power, like you were saying, local elections. Like, it kind of seems like we can't like just end or stop everything that's going on in the world now. But you can do a lot with the people that you have around you. But yeah, I am. Sometimes I'd be like, bro, we're not making it as a people. Sometimes,
we all have those moments.
But I have to keep the hope. It has to be the love. It has to be the love that overpowers the hate all the time. So that's what I'm trying to like just get back on that as well for myself. We all got our own work to do too. But we can also do that work as a community together, and I think that's what we sometimes miss. But
for sure,
I'm a story person. Y'all know this. I love a story. But once again, on Friday, with my students, they had came to my classroom because they were about to go on a field trip, and they were like, just talking to me, and I forget what they said. It was something about like along the lines of like going to McDonald's, going to whatever, and just hearing them have like say reverberating the things that I've told them, like, oh, you can't be going to McDonald's, you support a genocide. You don't worry about just you. You need to worry about everybody. Like hearing them say this, it just gives me so much hope. And when I tell you, I was sitting there crying. They're like, I heard you crying. I'm in tears. Okay, like just don't lose hope. Don't like let the taxing like nature of capitalism, like the draining nature of capitalism, hurt you to the point where you don't feel like you can do something. Because at the end of the day, we can all do something if we all come together. So just keep talking to your people, keep communicating, keep opening up the floor for conversation about things that actually matter.
For sure.
And I think the youth is so important. Like, that's where we can start really a lot of the change. Like, because I'm kind of like the older generation, bro, they're so they're enabling a lot of this. They're very complicit in a lot as well. Like you said, like, we grew up in, like, my grandma too went to Israel. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, definitely a Zionist. I'm like, oh, dang. I love you, grandma, but I'm like, this is crazy. It's just a lot of the internalized blackness, anti-blackness we have. Like, we just really need to unpack a lot and like learn a lot.
For sure. But thank y'all for getting on here. I truly do appreciate it, for real.
Awesome.
Of course. As you all heard from them, the revolution will not be televised, but continue to do the work because it will happen. I'm your host, Khalil Green, with my special guest, and we'll talk to you all later, only on The Almighty Show.